very good evening and thank you for tuning in here to NDTV. Let's begin with our top focus story at this hour. You had a Delhi police team earlier that has visited the Delhi High Court Judge, Justice Yashwant Varma's official residence at the directions of the Supreme Court panel that is probing the cash at home row. Now, the police earlier has sealed the storeroom where you had this fire that took place. This, as the matter has also gathered heat in the parliament as the Union Minister JP Nadda earlier has met with the Congress's Jairam Ramesh on the entire issue.
Police at Justice Yashwant Varma's house as probe gathered pace in the cash haul case. New Delhi District DCP and his team landed at Justice Varma's residence and sealed the room where the fire had broken out, as directed by the three-member judges panel. The issue also continued to raise heat in the parliament as Union Minister JP Nadda met Congress's Jairam Ramesh and KTS Tulsi to discuss the judicial accountability.
We yesterday had a very fruitful interaction on the issue that is agitating minds of the public. There was gracious presence of leaders of political parties, including leader of the House and leader of the opposition. Without going into the details, the deliberations were consensual, reflecting cooperation, concern, and the issue is not between institutions inter se. It is not that executive, legislature, or judiciary are pitted against each other. All the institutions in the country have to function in tandem, in togetherness, and also there are checks and balances which are well meant. It has been given by both leader of the House and leader of the opposition that after having wider consultations amongst all concerned in their respective parties and otherwise, they would come to the chairman for further deliberations.
The three-judge panel comprising of Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court Sheel Nagu, Chief Justice of Himachal Pradesh High Court G.S. Sandhawalia and Justice Anu Sivaraman of Karnataka High Court visited Justice Varma's residence on Tuesday for 45 minutes. As per sources, the panel inspected the room in which the fire broke out to see whether the room matched with the video of the fire by the police or not. The panel, apart from questioning Justice Varma, will also summon the Police Commissioner and Delhi Fire Service Chief to record their statements. The first responders of the information, including firefighters of Safdarjung Fire Station, policemen of Tughlaq Road Police Station, and personal assistants attached to Justice Varma's residence, will also be questioned. Meanwhile, the Apex Court today refused urgent hearing of a petition seeking directions to Delhi police to file a complaint and investigate the burnt bundles of cash found. The probe panel will submit its report to CJI Sanjeev Khanna, and only based on this report can it be ascertained whether a criminal investigation should be launched in the case, whether this amount of cash belonged to Justice Varma, and what was this sum doing at his official residence. What is also to be ascertained is whether or not this is a criminal conspiracy against the judge as what he claims. Some big questions surrounding the judiciary at this point, demanding answers of transparency and accountability. With camera person Gopal and Ranjit, this is Tanushka Datta for NDTV.
And underlining what they call is a total lack of sensitivity, the Supreme Court has paused the Allahabad High Court's ruling in a child abuse case. Now, you would recall that in this case, you had the judge that had observed that the grabbing of the breast and pulling the string of a pajama do not amount to a rape attempt. The bench has also sought replies from both the centre and the Uttar Pradesh governments.
Terming the controversial order by the Allahabad High Court insensitive and against tenets of law, the top court stayed the High Court ruling in a POCSO case. The top court said, and I quote, "We are at pains to state that it shows total lack of sensitivity on part of the author of the judgment. It was not even at the spur of the moment and was delivered 4 months after reserving the same. Thus, there was application of might. It's a serious matter. Total insensitiveness on part of the judge. This was at the stage of issuing summons. We are sorry to use such harsh words against the judge. Unquote. The Allahabad High Court judge had observed that mere grabbing of a private part and pulling the string of a pajama and dragging her below a culvert before fleeing from the spot does not amount to attempt to rape. Top court has sought response from the centre and the Uttar Pradesh governments on the matter.
We appeared on behalf of Just Right for Children Alliance and also mother of the victim because we had already filed the SLP 2 days back against the same impugned order of the Allahabad High Court. The Supreme Court has taken cognizance of the serious observations made by the Allahabad High Court and has stayed that particular judgment. Supreme Court also observed such insensitive observations made by the Allahabad High Court and has immediately issued notice to the Union of India.
The Supreme Court took suo motu cognizance on March 17th order of Allahabad High Court. The High Court judge had watered down the charges against the two accused who had fled the spot after people came to rescue the 11-year-old girl.
The Allahabad High Court on March 17 revised the summoning order and changed the charges against two accused from rape, attempt to disrobe and aggravated sexual assault under the POCSO. The Supreme Court today, while asking Solicitor General Tushar Mehta and Attorney General to assist the court in this case, has issued notices to Centre and Uttar Pradesh government seeking their response.
The Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna, has given a message to the lawyers. Allow me to quote. He says, "Please ensure we do not collapse." This was while he was addressing an event organized by the Advocates on Record Association, and the CJI says that while judges hold the reins of the chariot of justice, the lawyers are the wheels of justice. And he says if the wheels do not move, the chariot of justice may collapse. These, remember, are significant remarks and coming amidst the strike that you have seen by the Allahabad High Court lawyers and Justice Yashwant Varma transfer recommendation by the collegium.
We have often talked about judges and advocates being two wheels of the chariot. I had a slightly different quote, which is from a judgment way back in 2001 in DP Chadda's case. It goes like this. It has been a saying as old as the profession itself that the court and the councils are two wheels of the chariot of justice. In an adversarial system, it is more appropriate to say, while the judges hold the reins, the two opponent counsels are the wheels of the chariot. While the direction of the movement is controlled by the judge by holding the reins, the movement itself is felicitated by the wheels without which the chariot of justice may not move and may collapse. Please ensure we do not collapse.
Now, Sahil was a big catch of the network. The DRI alleges that he's abetted in the smuggling of more than 14,000 kilograms of gold. It was smuggled on the 11th of January 2025 by Rania Rao. It values in crores. It was a loss for a custom duty, again over 4 crores. The DRI has found that on 2 other occasions, Sahil Jain had assisted Rania Rao in disposing of that gold. The DRI also has leads about how this gold later was seized. And do remember, Sahil is in the DRI custody till Saturday. Sarda Muralidharan, who's the Kerala Chief Secretary, has taken on the Indian society's colour bias. In a long, heartfelt social media post, the trigger was a colourist remark comparing her leadership to that of her predecessor, who also happens to be a husband. She writes how you had a lot of people commenting on her stewardship that it is as black as her husband was white, and how she needs to own her blackness, putting a spotlight on an issue that continues to plague the Indian society. Our colleague Maria Shakilalia has spoken to her.
It's unfair to have that obsession with fair skin. But the question is, ma'am, that you are an extremely accomplished woman. What made you write that Facebook post?
Well, it was a rather interesting comment that was made. I mean, I'm used to comparisons being made about, how my husband's tenure is different from mine. I'm also used to a lot of comments being made about my skin tone. It was rather interesting to find both of them being brought together under one color paradigm. So that I thought needed to be. So one, it was unexpected, and two, however, I felt that it was when I just put that out as a bit of a catharsis, I was just getting it out of my system. I found that the response was just overwhelming, and I deleted the post because I really didn't want to get into any kind of an issue or controversy. But then people called up and said, "You know what? You are the chief secretary, and the chief secretary is saying this, and you are a black woman. The very fact that you can say this can can actually be important, and bring out a question that needs to be discussed." So I thought, okay, then maybe I should, expand on it, which is why I put the post back in, and there you go.
You say, I need to own my blackness. And, they thought black was awesome. They helped me see that black is beautiful, that black is gorgeousness. When did this stage arrive?
It took a while, because you have to remember that from the tiny age of 4, I have been conditioned into thinking that there was something wrong with black. And over time, when your brain tells you that this isn't really true, there are way too many synapses that have been conditioned into feeling defensive about your color, feeling insecure about who you are because of that color. And you hide it, of course, but it's there. It's there, and it's there in every single funny dig that is made at you. So you end up being a complex network of all these conditionings, which is why yourself, in and of yourself, you think of somebody who is beautiful has to be. You necessarily look at fair people as beautiful. You look at black people and you just pass them over. You don't bother to stop and take a look at who they are and what they look like. And it was my children who started, when they grew old, when they grew of an age, when they were no longer children, but people whom I could connect with, and they bring this out and they look at people, and then I look through their eyes, I see something that is quite wondrous. So yeah, it helped to start looking, and then you realize that you had to actually search. You have to consciously tell yourself to look, because otherwise you don't. You've been conditioned not to see. You've been conditioned not to see beauty in anything that is not fair and lovely.
And do you think that this, you have essentially challenged what has been acknowledged discrimination? And ma'am, so do you think that time has come to make that shift, and how do you think that shift can be achieved? And I want to understand from you as well, that do you think it gets amplified when the gender is that of a woman here?
Well, interestingly, I had a lot of men who were dark who responded to that post. I had people who were bald who responded to that post. So it was about a whole set of insecurities that come out of our notions of what constitutes beautiful bodies. And yes, I feel that there is the gender dimension certainly is there, because it's not just about being black, it's about being black woman. So it's a double whammy there.
Now, the latest in the justice for the Chaithanya case, where the 20-year-old nursing student who attempted suicide and eventually died after falling into coma. The police now say they are examining the abetment angle here as alleged by the family, but there's also a tribal activist by the name of Shivu Panthuar who helped Chaithanya get admission to the school and college. And that activist says that Chaithanya's friends had changed their statements. It's also becoming clear that the case could not move forward. The activist also claims that the hospital did not pressurize them to withdraw their statement. They also did not try to protect the warden. This is our colleague Shreya in conversation with the activist.
I'm currently joined by Shibu Panathur, who is a tribal activist, RSS associated, based out of Kerala, who has been closely tracking the Chaithanya suicide case, and he has been quite close to the family as well as throughout the case. He has been with the family, supporting the family mentally.
നമുക്ക് ആ കുട്ടികൾ അവിടെ ഒപ്പം പഠിച്ചിരുന്ന കുട്ടികൾ അവരുടെ പെട്ടെന്നുള്ളൊരു മാറ്റം അവർ പൂർണ്ണമായിട്ടുള്ള പരാതിയിൽ കൃത്യമായ ഒരു ഉറപ്പ് നമുക്ക് കൊടുക്കാത്തതിനാണ് കുട്ടിക്ക് നമുക്ക് ഇനി നിയമപരമായി മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ സാധിക്കാത്തത്. വേറൊന്നും അവർക്ക് അറിയാനില്ല. പിന്നെ അവർ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു പൈസ ആയിട്ടല്ല നമ്മൾ സ്വകാര്യം ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. അവർക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു കൃഷി സ്ഥലം വാങ്ങിച്ചു കൊടുക്കുക, അവർ താമസിക്കാൻ ഒരു വീട് വെച്ച് കൊടുക്കുക, ആ രീതിയിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. അവർക്ക് അത് ഞങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞ അവർ കേസായിട്ട് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. പിന്നെ അതുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് ആ രീതിയിൽ പോകാം എന്നുള്ളൊരു ധാരണയിലെത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Our next story is from Delhi, where the Delhi government has taken strict action against private schools, issuing orders to stop them from forcing students to buy books, uniforms and other educational materials from specific vendors. Now this, remember, was in response to certain complaints that were received from parents. The government has emphasized that private unaided schools, which operate on a no-profit, no-loss basis, must allow parents to choose where to buy these items from without any kind of financial pressure. The schools found violating these orders could also be facing action. Welcome back. Now, Donald Trump's administration remains under fire with the alarming security breach that did see Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, added by mistake to a Signal group chat. Despite the chat in the public forum, the White House has said that no classified material was ever sent on that particular thread. And the National Security Advisor has taken responsibility for the matter. In fact, the White House has gone ahead to target Goldberg over the Signal chat leaks, calling this anti-Trump. Earlier, you would recall, The Atlantic magazine had released the full leaked Signal chats between senior officials on the US's strikes on Yemen. This is what we've heard from Donald Trump.
I don't know anything about Signal. I wasn't involved in this, but I just heard about it. And I hear it's used by a lot of groups. It's used by the media a lot. It's used by a lot of the military, and I think successfully. But sometimes somebody can get onto those things. That's one of the prices you pay when you're not sitting in the situation room with no phones on, which is always the best, frankly.
And back home, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that there has been boom in the banking sector jobs. In a social media post, the FM has said that the government has created nearly 4 lakh jobs in the public sector banks across different cadres and levels. The SBI alone, they say, have created approximately 94,000 jobs, while the Bank of Baroda has created 41,000 jobs. And let's move on now to get you an NDTV exclusive. At the NDTV's Yuva Bharat Conclave, we had a special guest, Sara Ali Khan, where she's spoken up for the very first time on the attack on SEF, and she says, we are grateful, we are thankful as a family.
How did you manage your mental health and the mental health of the entire family when your father was in that dire situation? This is the first time you have made a public appearance, so I think you can share that experience with us.
I mean, I don't know how to answer that, if I'm being honest. But I think that it makes you realize just truly what matters. And I think in today's day and age, it's easy to forget that. Like, you're breathing, you're alive, you have a father and a mother that love you. Be grateful. I think that the only thing that the entire family felt was just gratitude, because it could have gone so wrong. It could have gone so wrong. And I'm so grateful that everything is fine, you know. And I think it was a reminder almost to just be thankful for the life that we all have, to be thankful for the fact that our legs work, to be thankful for the fact that we can breathe and eat. And, you know, if we're talking about mental health, we all talk about practicing gratitude, but really, truly understanding what that means, like being grateful for the small things in life is just so important. And I think that moments like that, which we shouldn't have to go through, you know, it's very sad that ye hota hai, it takes COVID to make you realize the importance of being at home with your family, or it takes somebody being almost, attacked for you to be like, okay, life matters. Life does matter. The small joys do matter. Celebrate every day that you are alive. That is what life is about. Take everything, your highs and lows in your stride. Mental health is an ongoing thing, I can talk about it endlessly. I don't know what else to say.
Did that episode or incident bring the entire family closer? It would be nightmarish for a daughter to receive that call.
See, it's not about closer. He's my father. We are as close as we can be. It's about making you realize how transient the things that you chase are. It didn't make me realize I love my father. I've known that for 29 years. It made me realize life can change overnight. So every second of every day deserves mindful celebration. That is what it made me realize. It made me realize the importance of just being.
Now, Aishwarya Rai Bachchan's car earlier was lightly hit by a best bus in Mumbai, causing a minor accident with no visible damage. Everyone in the car was safe, and after a quick check by the team, they also left the scene. The best later has also released a statement, and they've said that the bus lightly touched a car near Amitabh Bachchan's bungalow. As the car's driver got down to inspect the damage, a bouncer from the bungalow came out and slapped him. However, the issue was said to be resolved later. With this, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thank you for watching.